from, Mr. Chairman.
Elizabeth's bringing me those other documents in here.
Oh, that's from 2022.
Tad called me yesterday, late afternoon, and he was hoping to have a quote by today. Was it the last council meeting where we
Yes.
talked about this?
Yes, so at the last council meeting, Tad presented some repairs that we were having made to the clear well at Cypress Creek Water Treatment Plant. Those repairs indicated the potential for leakage through the wall of the clear well. Obviously, when you have treated drinking water, you don't want to have any type of leakage where water could get out or groundwater could entrain the area. So our consultant engineer, Engineers of the South, got a quote from Crom Water Infrastructure Solutions to put a urethane coating similar to this around the inside of the tank.
That was the first step.
The first step was to indicate whether there was the potential that a leak could occur, and that was what was presented at the council meeting for right around $19,730. This coating that would be placed on the interior of the tank,
What's that price again? What's that quote again?
the quote that was approved by the council was $19,730. Okay, this needed change order to install this urethane coating on the interior of the tank,
Hold on to your chair.
$225,360.07.
And where is this?
This is at Cypress Creek Water Treatment Plant. This will be in the clear well. We have a 1.88 million gallon clear well that is used for water treatment detention time and peak demand shaving. When you operate a water plant, you want the plant to operate at a steady rate. You don't want to ramp it up when everybody gets up in the morning to take a shower, and then you don't want to slow it down in the middle of the day when everybody's at work, and then you don't want to ramp it up again in the evening. You want to operate the plant slowly and steadily throughout the day. That's the reason for clear wells, elevated tanks, things of that nature. They allow you to operate your plant at a continuous, constant rate, and your water system fluctuates in that clear well and then those elevated tanks throughout the day and night. So this coating that Crom has provided a quote to install on the interior of the wall is to prevent any leakage from that tank or any groundwater entraining into treated water.
How long is it supposed to last?
I don't know that they put that in the quote. There will be some type of warranty period, and this was thrust upon me at 11 a.m. this morning. So,
But, so
I'll need to get.
the
I'll need to get
plant's
with the
down
consultant.
at this time.
The plan is currently down. If we were to not do this and try to operate the plant, it would not be advisable to do so by any stretch. But if we were to do that, we would be looking at another plant shut down, remobilization of the contractor, and probably prices that would be considerably higher than the $225,000 change.
So they're already on site.
They're on site.
You got a grant to pay for this? No.
Yeah.
Going to do it?
That's water. It's
Ain't
not
got
general
nothing-
fund.
ain't gonna do it to it.
Talk tomorrow.
I had no idea.
Y'all got the money?
Yeah.
Then this will come out of y'all's
This will come out of our operating capital.
water.
So the reason
Water.
Chad, he wanted to wait to get the quote. When I talked to him this morning, because he's supposed to let me know, he didn't have it, but then he got it.
Right.
That's why you're here.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
And the issue is, you're already mobilized to do it.
That's right. This is the cheapest it will be done.
And the issue is, even when doing this, the plant's gonna be down at least 3 weeks.
That's correct. 3 more weeks. And we're starting
Because
to
it
get,
has
How
to
long has it
cure,
been down?
It's been down for about a month with some, maybe just a shade over a month, with some baffle wall repairs that were ongoing in the clear well. I mean, this clear well is gonna be, you know, the last upgrades that were done to it were about 30 to 40 years ago, prior to these most recent baffle wall installations. But this particular coating that is gonna be on the inside will substantially increase the life of that clear well. I do not have an exact date on how long that should last, but I can reach out to the consultant engineer in Crom and find out. At the end of the day,
Gotta be done.
it's gotta be done.
What caused this age?
Age. It's a concrete structure, and pressure and time affect concrete always.
So my question, you said, the last upgrades was 30 to 40 years. So, this gets fixed. Will it be another 30 to 40 years or longer?
I would say probably so. I can't guarantee
Right.
that because you never know what type of external forces will occur, but I would assume that this would fix it for a long period of time.
Any particular thing caused it?
Just time,
Just time, okay.
just time.
All right,
And no safety danger to the public?
Not at this time. No,
Okay.
the plant's down
all
at this
right.
time.
How about helping them understand? I know when Ted and I've been talking, even you, and even when we've been working on this PFAS, or however we say it, we talked about, you know, you had the plant on Paxton down there, the old plant,
Yes, sir.
and currently it does not have contamination of PFAS.
That's correct.
All right, when you built the one on Wilson Lake down at Veterans Park, my understanding is there was never any consideration of expanding that one there, but you did have a conversation at Wilson Lake about doubling its size and closing,
Yes.
and you backed off on that why?
Okay, it all goes back to source water. I was mentioning to Councilmember Hendricks earlier, when you talk about water treatment, you're always looking at your source water. Hey, how much will this source water yield me at any given time without any type of operational issues or threat to the general public at large? But at the end of the day, Cypress Creek Water Treatment Plant is currently permitted for 12 million gallons a day. We're looking at upping that permit to 16 million gallons a day, but we have to do a higher rate study. The river has plenty of water, but we don't have a lot of control against the upstream aquifer and what can happen. When Wilson Lake Water Treatment Plant was constructed, PFAS wasn't even on anybody's radar. Nobody thought anything about it, no nothing. But as contaminants emerge, people start looking at things and they say, hey, this could potentially be harmful if this is in your drinking water. We need to come up with a way to get it out. It's an ever-evolving process. So, to answer your question, as far as upgrading Wilson Lake to a higher rate at this point, we could look at upgrading it to a higher rate. But right now, we're caught in the PFAS trap and we just want out of it. But from an operational standpoint, we cannot make it with just Cypress Creek or just Wilson Lake.
So right now, we're okay?
Right now, we're perfect. We're
The
good.
PFAS
We've
and all
got,
that stuff.
we've got
We're
two.
safe.
Yes, ma'am. We've got two separate plants that meet or exceed ADM's current guidelines for water treatment to serve to the public at large, to the public water system.
Okay.
We're fine operationally at this point. We just know what's coming by
Right.
2029, and
Right.
we're trying to make preparations for that. So, when you talk about the two sites that we have, could Wilson Lake be upgraded to a higher rate? I feel like that absolutely, but you gotta take care of the PFAS. So do you take care of PFAS at your current pumping rate of 12 million gallons a day? Or do you bite the bullet and say, hey, I wanna bump this plant to 24 million gallons a day and take care of PFAS all in one? You're talking about 150 million versus who knows?
So, but when you do that, on the Wilson side, is that plant gonna be down some to do what you're going?
Yes, sir. And
So
that's,
technically, we'd still have to do Cypress Creek.
that's exactly right. And from an operational perspective, we are set up perfect. A lot of people don't have the same options that we have, where you have two separate water treatment plants on two completely different sources of water. A lot of places just have one water treatment plant, and, I mean, from an operational perspective, if your plant goes down, I mean, you're in a quagmire.
So we've been talking about this PFAS long. Every year, I know we're required to put out the
Consumer confidence report.
So people should not be worried. We're above and beyond standards that are required today.
Yes, we absolutely meet or exceed. Those consumer confidence reports are required by ADM. They go out annually, and they have our levels of any contaminant that ADM requires, even contaminants that ADM just suggests you test for. We do that, and that's in our consumer confidence report. That goes out to every citizen or connection in the city of Florence.
I'm glad to know that, because I know that has been, well, it was a concern of mine, but certainly was a concern of the citizens, with all this talk about the PFAS.
PFAS.
Yeah, about that, you read so much on social media and in the news, and so they
The
didn't
article in the
know
paper today
which
about
way,
it.
what to believe, so that's good. No.
Yes, and we're happy to talk to anybody at any time. I mentioned to Councilmember Hendricks earlier. We give plant tours regularly to members of the public. We give it to members of educational systems. We give it to, you know,
You need to come give me a tour.
absolutely. All you
That's
got to
what
do is
I told
contact
them
us,
to do.
Yeah.
and we'll get it set up.
How long does a tour take?
It varies, depends on how in depth.
Is that the
you
one
want
out
to
of,
get. So you got,
Paxton.
we can do either. We can do the one on Paxton at Cypress Creek, or we can do Wilson Lake.
Y'all do both.
is
I've
it,
done both.
is there a big difference in them?
There is a little bit of difference in them. They're both conventional filter plants. The difference again goes back to the source water. There are some treatments that we have at Wilson Lake that we do not have to have at Cypress Creek because of that source water.
All right, so as I understand, like I said, I'm sorry I threw this on you, but I didn't know in just a little while Tab was even gonna move forward. But
Yes, sir.
what he tells me is if y'all approve going forward with this, we're gonna have a call meeting because they're ready to go.
They're sitting on site, ready to go.
Can't wait till
So
Tuesday, because they're
They're there on site.
With the clock
I would-
running.
Yes, exactly, with the clock running. I would advise either having a called meeting, or if Tad has a conversation with the engineer and the contractor, if we can make it to Tuesday, it needs to be placed on the council agenda for Tuesday at the latest.
Can
That would be.
can you check and see if they can, if they can't?
I
I'll
certainly can,
I'll
yes,
certainly call a
ma'am.
meeting.
So, as I said, Tad's in interviews till 12:40
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
I had a 12 o'clock meeting that I pushed back to 12:30, so we're
Okay.
just.
Just as
we're
long as we
trying to-
have that, if we have to call that 24-hour notice. But
Yes, ma'am, I
yeah.
understand.
So as soon as you know, let me know.
My personal opinion is that Tuesday would be fine, but I don't wanna answer that without having a
Right.
conversation with Tad, because we haven't even discussed this. This got sent to me in an email, and
So
Here
you
I
wanna say something to Billy on your way out, tell him
Billy's gone. He's
that.
elsewhere.
I'll follow up with Tad
Okay.
just as soon as I
Okay,
have
either
to.
way, well, y'all hadn't even approved it yet, but whatever.
So the only thing, I'm so grateful that y'all have funds put back for these emergency situations. But I hate non-budgeted emergencies. Especially, and this is not just water departments, all over, I'm sure all over town, but especially when we know things are reaching end of life, and it's so much better if it's in the budget. We know we gotta replace something next year, and we can become more proactive so that it's so much easier when y'all come to the council and say, this is out of budgeted funds, line item such and such,
Yes, sir.
rather than, an emergency expense of $250,000, which,
Understood.
it's the same thing, it's just the optics of it, I guess.
I agree wholeheartedly. Would you like me to segue into my water rate speech?
No. But This is not affecting water rates.
No, it does, it
Yeah,
does, it
that's
absolutely.
the main thing.
It absolutely, this
not
does not. There are things that are coming in the future that obviously will. From an operational perspective, Councilmember Hendricks, the water department does operate on a shoestring budget. We have the money in our coffers at this point to pay for this repair. Will it change the way that we have to operate? Yes. We'll be driving around in older trucks for a little bit longer.
That's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
At
be
least you
using-
recognize.
You got some air in them? You got some gas? You good?
To be quite honest with you, there's some that don't have air, but we use.
They have windows that roll down though,
They have
right?
windows that
I
roll
do
down.
the manual windows
So,
too.
yeah.
Where them fans at?
You see water department employees with their heads hung out the window, you know why.
Yeah.
So,
They built for the heat. I'm not.
yeah, I understand.
I die.
So anyway, I will follow up with Tad, but if you all are in agreement with it,
Yeah,
this
I
is
make a
probably.
motion.
Second.
Okay, been motion and second, all in favor? Has to be done, has to be
I
done.
understand.
Thank you.
Thank
Let
you
me
all.
know as soon as you find out about Tab.
Of course.
Call me whenever I
Yes,
can.
ma'am. I'm gonna run to that other meeting if you don't need anything else from me. Thank you all
very
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Don't forget your banana
Water
pudding.
flowing.
While I drive.
You,
There you go.
Bye.
you make that motion. Okay, Mayor.
All right, this shouldn't take that long. I think I explained it to the, who. I explained it to y'all at the council meeting, and I suggested we have this meeting to talk about it. I met with, well, I've had several meetings with Walk of Honor Committee, which has done, I'd say, yeoman's work for a long, long time. This committee was started by Mayor Irons, and I think all of you have been to the annual honor ceremony, and know that it's a part of the, well, it's actually been a two-phase project that's happened out at the River Heritage, coming down from the hotel down to the splash pad and the pavilion and all that. I mean, you've got great members of that board, including Congressman Flippo, and we've had a number of conversations about it, but obviously you were putting to each post, you were putting 4 markers. So, you currently have 6 spots left. So we know we're coming down to the end of the process.
6 posts or 6 spots,
6 spots,
so a post and a half.
post and a half. So this year you got 4 that are gonna be used, and so next year, so you'll only have 2. This is, obviously an ongoing project. We talked about a number of different things they were considering. I think down the road, they are aware that they've still got a book. I mean, these people who've done things internationally, I mean, it's really pretty amazing, the folks that are there. But they're aware that down the road, it's gonna need to move forward to online, some kind of way. For instance, you could have a QR code and it could take you to each one of them. They've talked about putting a QR code actually on each marker. Maybe you go by there, you click on it, and it would bring that up. Or so what they're wanting to do is look at it. They're asking for $9,000. They realize the $9,000 that's itemized there. It's survey, engineering services, and architectural services. You don't have to read that now, but the idea is to come up with a plan moving forward. So that's what they're asking for. Now, what they'd like to do, but they're gonna have to deal with TVA, is build another set of posts moving up, toward the hotel. That's their first choice. We talked about the you know, if they look at, if we could start it over and we could have moved them, we could possibly gotten more, you know, now there's no way to put underneath, they're too low. I mean, if they'd done them higher, they might have been able to do that, but the folks in the street department say, you know, if you try to remove those, you're gonna, you know, gonna break something, you're gonna see the marks underneath, and it just wouldn't work. So, I mean,
Can they not get grants for this? Have they,
well, I mean, that's obviously something, you know, they'll look at, and that's some of what we talked about. But obviously, the plan they wanna look at, they gotta get TPA's approval, so, I mean, I don't think we're looking at something that's gonna be handled quickly. I mean, you know,
Whose
TPA
budget
should
does
move
this come out
very
of? What budget does this come out of?
quick. Do they have their own?
It would have to be in its own department budget. There is a department set up for that, so it would have to be budgeted. So it's not budgeted this year.
Okay, and so how pressing is this?
Well,
I'm asking that question to see if, can we kick the can a few months to maybe get it into a budget year? I know you're already working on a tight budget for next year, but I just hate unbudgeted
I'm
surprises.
I'm just here to say that this is where we are. I know that they've got the 4 moving forward.
Which will get them through this
Mhm.
current year. Okay,
I'm like Jackie, if we can, put this off, and we're getting ready to certainly go into some financial hardships. I'm not just talking about Florence, I'm talking about nationwide, globally. I think we need to be,
I mean,
Very
I
careful.
don't have any problem with that.
and I mean, if it doesn't hold them, they've got the space for this year, it doesn't hold them up on anything that they're doing, and then we can work with Shayna to see if we can or cannot find the money to put in next year's budget. I just feel like,
Well, you know,
It's a smart
all I'm
way to do
really, all
things.
this is asking for is the 9,000 to figure out how you're gonna move forward.
yeah,
So, what else would you need for them besides this?
Well, that's what I was looking at is, I'm assuming the last time when they built this was just like 2019-ish, or was it older than
No,
that?
it's before that.
2013? So it costs about 38,000 to construct it. And then your plaques are about 12,000 each year when they buy those. So that's kind of what I was
So
looking at.
what's still in their budget right now?
There wasn't any. I guess my question though would be if going forward to have it without end, go ahead and do the QR codes. I mean, I go ahead and do that option and not have to come in with construction and spend, you know.
Well, that may be what they come out with. I mean,
the 9,000 will tell them that.
Or is the 9,000 to engineer this additional loop?
just to kind of figure out where they want to go forward.
With the, because that's what it sounds like, because it was, yeah, it was engineering and site work and architectural fees.
So, I mean, you know, they may find out TDA is gonna say no. I mean, we even looked, you know,
so is there any way they can find out that before you want to spend $9,000?
They
I'd
probably,
say-
I would say, why, they probably wouldn't tell them that. I don't know if
I
Bill
mean,
has.
I actually went out there with part of them and David Koontz about the way, is there a way we could move the other way, or, you know, and it just, I mean, David didn't see any good way. Well, there were several you could do, but as my mom would say, it looked pretty fetched on. So, I mean, this was something, and, you know, I see Mr. Irons all the time, and he's very proud of it, as he should
Yeah,
be.
it's something.
And, you know, I mean, I think it brings a amazing heritage that we have in our community. And, you know, I'm not saying what what's for the future, and I'm not here saying, you know, because I think, you know, is it a tourist attraction? Maybe not, but I think those that see it as, you know, pretty amazing we have this for our community. But, you know, from my vantage point is we got this covered. But we know we gotta do something different. So, I mean, if you wanna say we're gonna wait till, put it in the budget for next time, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, and I don't think that sends a message that we're being non-supportive. I think we're just being smarter with our money, because they've got enough to get them through this year, and then it allows Shayna to do the heavy lifting
All right,
and figure
but,
out
you
where
say
this comes
that, but-
from.
Thank you.
The budgeted for,
They're 26. It would be in the next.
okay,
budget.
but what you got in this year's
There's
budget?
nothing. I mean, there was nothing, but unless it was mixed in with.
Oh, that's because we're gonna, because it won't happen until the new budget year. I think it's in October.
The plaques, yeah, and so I'll need to know that to budget for that and the plaques to make sure they get in there.
Blake's been awfully quiet.
But I'll make a note, so I'll make sure you get it in there.
I think it's a very worthwhile project and it's well received and it's honoring families and people that contributed their life to this community over the years. I sure hate to see it.
I mean,
go
you know,
away.
we got a lady out there who's the
Yeah.
first Navy admiral. I mean, pretty
people-
remarkable.
I know.
I had no clue what they did for this, you know, community, for this, for the country as well. I mean, it's an international thing, but I'd hate to see it go away. And I know we've been running out of space and it's been getting close last 2 or 3 years, but we've been knowing this is coming. But yeah, I mean, if we can wait till the budget year, probably a smart thing to do, but I mean, it just depends on what they need. I mean, do they need it now, or can they put it off until we budget for it? I guess is the question.
Well, you said you'd hate for it to, not that it would go away, I just think it's now the time to move forward with doing the QR codes and not doing the additional groundwork, just work with what you got and move with the times and not necessarily, I get the plaques, I get it, but I think you're moving, now's the time to kind of move with where we're going.
Let me.
That's my thing.
I mean,
How much?
So where would this 9,000 come from, Shane?
I think in the past, it looks like it's come out of the 1 cent sales tax, the Fund 188, so it's been put in that fund, so. it's
Like I
not-
always say, we find something to fix everything else besides stuff that's been lingering forever.
I mean, I've already, you know, unless the department, and I'm already.
Everybody pop up, come to the city, want something, where you find that money quick.
Well, it's not a problem.
And I'm not talking about
No,
you.
I know, but there's other priorities.
Absolutely.
All right, Elizabeth said that'll work fine.
doing it in the fall.
Just include that. So we'll just need to,
Okay.
I mean, she can give you all the info, because she, you know, meets with them
Okay,
and what we need to include.
that's fine, yeah, I just need to make sure. Which part are y'all wanting to put in the budget, the additional plaques for just,
Well,
and then we'll figure out the.
We'll talk to her about
How
Okay.
much is the QR code thing?
it. We you know,
We don't have a clue what.
I just brought that up. I mean,
Oh.
you know, obviously,
That's something that we would need to.
obviously,
like,
as,
no cost
as
of
mayor, I don't want this to end on my watch. I mean, you know,
No,
other mayors are very proud of it, and I think the
doesn't
city's
need
proud
that.
of it. But I think, you know, I was very frank with them, thinking that we may have to do it a little differently down the road.
Well, eventually we're gonna run out of runway.
Well, that's why I think where you're at
Have to.
now, I mean,
But yeah, I like the way we're doing it. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't ever wanna see it go away. But, you know, if we can budget for it and look at it in the fall, I just think that's the smart money.
That's perfectly fine with me. That's all I had.
Well, there you have it. That's
And
it.
the food was good, by the way. I'm glad you chose that.
I need it to be healthy.
And just so you know, I paid for 4 additional meals to go with the guys that are working on the lights down in.
Oh, that
down
was
Plaque.
nice, Mayor, thank you for doing
Well,
that.
aren't you
And
kind?
I cut the, asked Dave, he said, they'll eat anything. And they will be glad they got that one.
Well,
They'll be sleeping in that
Yeah.
heat.
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
That's why
That's
I'm
what I
sleeping eating this heavy food. This ain't outside food.
Hey, look at Jackie, go down and check it out.
But at least they got,
Too many
they'll
carbs.
have their strength, but they'll be sleepy. They get those true man meals. Right.
We're good.
We ready to adjourn?
We are, man, yeah. Okay, motion second, third, out of here. Thank y'all.
All right.